All right, here we are again for episode 2 of the Blacksmith and the Tech Guy podcast. We're where we take our opinions of different things, current events, politics, trades, technology news, and gaming. And we kind of go through it all. And if you find anything that you'd like us to talk about or go over, feel free to put it down in the comments. If you feel we earned it, subscribe and like the video. We've got a few things to go through today, all over the map, and want to just appreciate those folks that took the chance to watch the first episode, go through it, and give us some feedback, because that means a lot. We've got some changes we made to the audio, and I think we'll have a lot better quality this time around. So
let's hope so.
Yeah. So I'm Will, full-time blacksmith and an Abana blacksmithing level 1 instructor. This is Tab. He is the tech guy.
I'm the tech guy.
Yep. And that's what we're here to do, kind of go through it and go through what's in the world through our eyes, through our perspectives. So thank you again. And today, for music, I chose the video last week, which varying we had
a couple different opinions on that. Yeah.
Differing opinions.
One of them I agreed with a lot. Yeah. That was the gentleman who didn't like Tool very much.
And I get it.
I also do not. I'm not a big fan of Maynard and his antics, and I feel like
my idea with it though.
But there's still, we're open to kind of checking everything out once and
absolutely
take a listen to it. And
for her on the channel though, we're going to be looking at all kinds of things we agree with, things we don't like.
Yeah.
Just because we're looking at something doesn't mean we're endorsing that person's whatever, right? We're just there to look at and talk about what we're talking about in the moment.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter to me what as a human, like, I don't know him, but I've seen him interviewed a couple times. Don't really like him, but I can tell you the drummer's got some freaking skills after watching that video. And you know what, the band is they sound excellent together. They have a good harmony, and
that was the point of the video, to look at the drummer.
I've never really listened to him, so having to listen to him gives me a new perspective on an appreciation, I should say. For the group. So
today, Matthew found a video. He's going to do a quick introduction. Found an awesome drummer, and he's going to talk about it a little bit, and then we'll go through, watch a couple videos, and see what we've got.
So it's another band that I am not a fan of at all. It's this Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Going strong.
We probably should pick things that we like, I guess,
right. Maybe someday.
But I feel like, I don't know why we're picking I'm a guitar player. He's a bass player. I don't know why we're picking drummers. It's because I think everybody wants to be a drummer. Really?
True enough.
And,
right. Or the lead singer.
Or the lead singer, yeah.
Right.
So I picked a couple videos with Chad Smith, the drummer from Red Hot Chili Peppers. So we're going to show a clip with Chad Smith and Will Ferrell because they look a lot alike and it's funny.
Man, Red Hot Chili Peppers. I can't, after Epstein Island. I know.
Anthony Kiedis is a weirdo. Always has been.
Always has been.
It's terrible.
Frequent flyer pass. That guy can't look at him.
And I've never really liked the group. I did get a chance to meet Flea once, and he seemed like a pretty normal dude.
Nice. Crazy, right? The normal one seemed like Flea.
I know. Yeah. And that was a long time ago.
Right.
But yeah, I was never really, this is not really my type of music. No. Just a little too maybe poppy for me, or something. But anyway, there's great musicians in a lot of bands that are super poppy and whatever, right?
Yep.
So yeah, let's check this out, huh? So
sounds good. So what are they doing in the video here?
Let me pop on. So this is the wrong video.
Oh, all right.
Let me pop on the correct video. So the first one.
Oh, boy.
So this is Will Ferrell over here on our right.
Okay.
And this is Chad Smith on the left.
Dude, they look
kind of funny, right?
Dude,
they look like brothers.
Exactly. They could be twins.
So when you look like in the video, right? Like if you watch the interview, which I don't really watch because I don't like him all that much anymore. Just because it's just not as funny as it.
Liked him.
Yeah. I don't know. It's not really my flavor either. So. But this was funny. So they came out looking like this,
I like authenticity, right?
Yeah.
And it's all plastic in all of the night shows, not just him.
It's too, it's too tailored for me.
Right, exactly.
I don't like that.
Yep.
It's too set up.
Yep,
so,
drums.
So they do a drum off.
Okay.
Right, with a real drummer, Chad Smith, and Will Ferrell, who plays drums like I do.
Right.
So which I'm happy to say because it's not terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I could play this. So let's check it out.
See me bet, right? All right, guys, you know the rules. This is a traditional drum off.
This is traditional drum off? This is a traditional drum off?
Tonight we're gonna go by the traditional rules. This is a traditional drum off. You each get 4 solos. Whoever whacks, smacks, and slaps the skins the best wins. So without further ado, let the drum off begin!
All right.
Okay.
Let's see what they got.
have.
All right.
It's got the professional earpiece in.
Yeah.
I see Will's lacking that. Never mind. Will had the Kamala special in. You see that?
Yeah.
The diamond earring.
Yeah.
Take notes, Chadwick.
Okay, so I feel like I could
Still
play that.
I can play that too, probably. What's crazy
It's not
is the
terrible.
Sound still sounds good though.
It's that's my level of drumming right there. It's baseline.
All right, let's see what he's got.
Baseline. That was better.
Man, it sounds so clean. I can't get over the drum sound so clean, man. Sound guy, props to
so
the sound
poppy.
guy. Yeah.
Looks like baby learned how to play the drum.
That's what kills me about Will Ferrell. Like he plays the same almost
Can
character.
baby do this?
Yeah, he does. He plays the same character in every. It's like one big show. It's like Tool.
Yeah,
It's like
right.
one big song.
No, I get it. Yeah. Right. It's so fake.
And then his sticks. I mean, that wasn't terrible.
No.
It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good.
Yeah.
You can see he's played around on some drums before. Yeah.
I think that was fake, dude.
No,
I don't
no.
think that was him
That
playing.
was him playing, for
no,
sure.
back it up. Back it up. That was not him
Yeah,
playing.
I
That
know.
was them
You're
piping
crazy.
in somebody else.
No way.
Watch the drums. They don't match.
They match.
No. I think that's not him really playing.
I just blew my mind. All right.
You just. I didn't go far enough back.
Let's see.
I'm too dumb, huh?
No, let's keep it.
Okay,
Yeah, here we go. That doesn't look like he's hitting him. That's fake.
Yeah.
That's
No, I
fake.
think
dude.
we're good.
There's no way.
Look at that. Yeah, you can even hear the sticks hit. Yeah, no, I just think the sound's a little bit.
His sticks are flat. They're
I
not
just think
even
the
hitting.
sound's a little bit off.
Maybe. I don't know.
Because you can hear
I
the
don't.
stick click.
I just blew my mind. All right.
Because you can't tell me they don't have like the real house band playing that for him on the side.
I don't think so. They're like the acoustic drums. Everybody's going to hear it. Oh. He failed.
That was cute. Do you play for the lukewarm chili peppers?
I mean, they've always been lukewarm to me. So. Okay, you might be right. We're going to find out, yeah.
That's why why did they pan away? Right?
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're probably right. Well, I mean, he's hitting a cymbal. Like, you can't fake the noise. Right?
Yeah, but if it's not mic'd up, you're not going to hear it over the sound studio, I think.
I don't know, man. The crowd would.
There's a reason why they zoomed in on him.
I don't know. I feel like he's playing it. The crowd would definitely notice.
Leave a comment if you think he's really playing or not.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I'm that gullible. I mean, I feel like if the house, I could play that. So, like, I should be in Jimmy Fallon's house band. That'd be cool.
Yeah, he fixed the
The mic.
mic though.
Still didn't catch it. Okay, so
All right.
So that's just for fun, but
It's all
yeah.
right.
So okay, so yeah, leave a comment, man. Do you think Will Ferrell was able to play those dope beats or
Nope.
not?
Nope.
I think so, but I could be wrong. I'm usually not. I'd say 99.99% of the time. Ask my wife. I'm never wrong.
Right. No.
So we're gonna jump into Chad Smith's. This is what I really wanted to show.
All right.
Show Blacksmith here is I wanted to show him Chad Smith's 30 Seconds to Mars. So this is Drumeo, if you guys are familiar. It's a YouTube channel, and they have drummers on, obviously, by the name, and it's pretty easy to tell, right? But what they like to do is they bring in drummers that are unfamiliar with music. They play the music for them. If the drummer's never heard it, they go ahead and run the track, and the drummer gets to try to pick up the timing and play a set to the music, right? And so this is Chad Smith's, I think, first time
It's
on.
like input your own drum line kind of thing.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool.
Gotcha.
And this is what I was like, oh, this dude's a musician, a real musician, pretty good musician.
Right.
I mean, I'm like I said, Red Hot Chili Peppers is my thing, but they're obviously good musicians. So let's take a look.
Know the song? Have you heard
So
it?
we won't watch the whole video.
Yeah, just skip ahead here and we'll see what we can.
Okay. How are you feeling? Are you scared?
I'm nervous.
So-
Why are you nervous? What kind of music makes you terrible?
No.
Time.
Okay, great. So you guys do
So what they'll do is they'll play
Fuck you. I probably never heard before.
he won't hear the drums.
Play the song through.
So he's just hearing everything but the drums right here.
Oh, it's in
We
three.
get to hear everything.
Okay.
I think.
So he's not hearing.
This is what he's hearing.
Oh, that's what he's hearing. Interesting. Interesting. All right. That's crazy. He's just one off in that.
It's insane.
It sounds pretty close to the original. I wonder if he's heard it before.
That's what. Well, he said he had never heard it.
Okay.
In the beginning. Now he could be lying, of course, but doesn't surprise me.
Right. It's on a TV show. We never know.
Yeah.
Sounds good, man. It's a good performance.
Yeah, it's pretty excellent. Yeah, it sounds very similar to the original to me,
Yeah.
especially right there.
Right.
But he adds in more fills, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not too familiar with
And
the original.
He's playing with quite a bit of power too.
Yeah.
I love the ride there. It's
Right.
beautiful.
All right.
Yeah, that triple snare there is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely getting into it.
yeah, the way he picked that up and rolled that transition,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Back it up just a sec. We'll see that one more
Do you
time.
see the
just
giant
like
gong in back of him?
All right. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's
It's not hard to do, man. That's very hard to do on the fly. So right here, listen.
Bringing it up,
So he can hear it. Yeah.
just counting it.
Yeah.
A little tom in there.
So that's a one thing. Like when you're playing with folks. Let me pause it real quick. It's one thing when you're playing with folks for a little while, or you've been playing a little while. When you're playing, you can kind of you feed off of the other members in the band. So in my position, assuming what he's listening to, he's hearing the vocals, he's hearing the build in the vocals, he's hearing the change in the cadence, and he's kind of feeling the music to know that this is a build up.
Yeah, for sure. He's so practiced, even without knowing the band. He knows where this is going to end up.
It's like I need to hit this fill, put a punctuation mark in it, and then
And he's
roll it
counting
in, and
it,
we're
of
gonna
course.
and then we're gonna slow it down. Yeah, no, it sounded great. You did a good job there. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
I actually think the drums are way cleaner here than on the original track. No offense to the original drummer there. How do you catch that?
Right. Yeah, go back there. That was nuts.
Because like he kind of fell into this a little rough when he fell in right here.
Wow.
Like he'll fall into it a little
Yeah.
because it feels like it's building again, and then it goes. So he kind of goes a little hard there, but then
I
he picks
see.
it right up, right
And
when
then
that
quick
break
adjustment.
comes.
Yeah, no, that was good.
It's awesome.
About a half a measure, and he was already back to where he
Yeah.
needed to be. Yeah.
Then a totally new fill.
Pretty epic.
It's awesome. fantastic. I mean, that's really good.
Yeah.
So a lot of drummers on this show, they'll sit here with a pad and paper, listen to the song 2 or 3 times.
Right.
They take notes,
Make
then they
notes.
play something over top of it.
Write out a whole plan.
This dude literally just sat down.
Sat down, played a song.
So that's what impressed me about it.
Yeah,
Is like
it's
he's
impressive.
a musician, like a legit, like, hey, let's have jam night. This
Right.
dude's gonna sit down and jam all night.
Right.
You
That's
know, like
awesome.
it doesn't even matter who plays.
Right.
He's gonna play.
Yep.
That's a musician to me.
Yep.
I mean, you know,
Just get in there, get your hands dirty.
yeah, it's awesome.
Yep.
Lost a stick, broke it.
That's
You
nice.
see that?
Broke a stick first time through the song. That's pretty awesome. Not even missed a beat.
It's awesome. That's great. He was
That's
going
epic.
nuts.
He knew he caught it. He went the wrong way with it. It could have gone faster or slower. There you go. I love that he's experimenting.
Yeah.
Like he's finding the groove.
What the fuck was that?
He got it.
that
That was
My
damn near
Chemical
perfect.
Romance or something?
That was actually a really good guess.
And
That was close.
That was pretty close.
It's funny because if you watch the rest of the video, I'll put the video link in the description.
Yeah.
If you want to check it out or check their channel out, they're like I said, they have a lot of different drummers on, and
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. But he knows the guys.
Oh.
He's like, oh, that's his band. I've never heard him. But he knows who he is. He was like, oh, dang, yeah, they're really good.
No, that's funny.
So anyway, yeah, it's pretty cool, right?
No, yeah, and I, honestly, looking at his performance, he was solid up until the last like 20 seconds.
Yeah.
I just being at a show, listening to him, you wouldn't have been able to tell that he had just picked the song.
Yeah, he literally just sat down and played to the song.
So
That's
yeah,
insane.
I'll
to
give
me.
him a solid 9 on that. Man.
Yeah,
That was good.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll hop off that.
Hop off the music. Yeah, we'll change subjects here. Kind of do some rapid fire current events news. We
I'm gonna chat about that a little bit.
You wanted to go further into music, okay?
Just a little
let's see.
bit.
All right,
Just in case
Let's see.
nobody's seen
go
this.
backwards. Okay.
Okay. So I got something I watched the other day. It's a documentary on the Beach Boys.
Gotcha.
Now, growing up in California, and I love the ocean. We have a lot of oceans here in North Idaho, but I absolutely love the ocean. It was hard to keep me out of it. So the Beach Boys really, they really spoke to me when I was probably 7 or 8 years old. When I got my hands on the first album, and I really enjoyed it. And so I listened to Endless Summer probably 1,000 times, and that was about my probably my favorite album for a couple years when I was a kid. And so I've always been interested in them. Now I know that nobody in the band surfed except Dennis. Dennis Wilson, the only one guy. They all had tried, but only one really was a real surfer.
Right.
That type of guy. So anyway, the documentary was on. I think you can find it in several places. Just a second.
Yeah.
I'm dying.
Yeah. All right. Basically, kind of like a behind the scenes kind of overview of the Beach Boys and their story. Kind of the trials and tribulations they went through. So it sounded pretty interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was good because it goes through what a lot of bands end up going through in the music industry, and this is a long time ago that this
Right.
happened, of course, to them. But it basically goes through like Brian Wilson, the older brother, because it was a trio.
Right.
Their older brother, he was the musical architect, right?
Okay.
The composer.
The talent.
And well, I mean, they were all talented, I think, in their own right, like because they
Right.
all had to sing that,
Sure.
hit these pitches that he came up with in these harmonies,
I didn't
but
mean
he was the
talent as in,
composer.
like,
But
right.
yeah, the musical composer, the
Right.
composer talent, yeah.
No,
Composition.
Maybe talent's the wrong
Compositional.
word. The creativity, the creative one. Right?
Yes.
The muse, whatever you want.
Yeah, there you go.
What do you want?
Yeah, he had a real strong vision for what he wanted out of them.
Nice.
And their father was the manager, and they ended up,
Heard this story before.
yeah,
Right.
going on, exploding, going on tour, and Brian he hated being on tour. He couldn't stand it. He didn't like being in the spotlight. He liked being at home with his family, and he liked creating in the studio.
All right.
Which is why they ended up working with the Wrecking Crew, who are famous. You should look them up if you don't know who they are. They've been on. I don't even know how many albums. A lot of albums that they did studio work for.
Oh, gotcha.
And they said that he was the best composer to ever work with. That he really led them, and they've worked with everybody. Everybody. They wrote stuff for Rolling Stones, Beatles. Everybody. Oh. And they just said he was amazing. So right. Yeah, it's pretty interesting hearing their side because they really get into the Wrecking Crew in there too. And there's actually a documentary on the Wrecking Crew that maybe we'll talk about at some point. So that was a group that
worked with them, or what?
Yeah.
Not getting too far in a rabbit hole.
It was actually not. I spelled it like Motley Crue. I should have asked. Let me ask Rock what albums are on.
No. So this was like a for hire kind of.
Yeah, studio musicians.
Studio musicians, gotcha. That makes sense. What interested me about the story that I heard about was their connections with like with it's scary, but the Charles Manson connection between them and the Beach Boys and them, and how close they came to having.
Yeah, they actually did a Charles Manson song.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Well,
so
I knew there was a connection, like they played together at one point or for a little while, but I didn't know that they actually played a song.
Oh my gosh, what was the song name? I can't remember the song name. So
you know better than me. What's kind of a breakdown of the?
So yeah, what happened is Dennis Wilson, the middle brother, he was the surfer, and kind of the liked to indulge.
Right.
And
hippie
party.
Lucky.
Yeah, and he was a real partier out of the group. The rest of the guys were pretty straight, and narrow when it came to that stuff. But he was not. He was a traditional surfer musician.
Right.
Well, he started playing with Manson, and thought that Manson had some talent. And he said, "Yeah, I'll introduce you to Terry Melcher, who was their producer at the time, who was Doris Day's son."
Crazy.
And and so Terry Melcher met him and was like, "No."
Yeah.
Like, no, he had a weird vibe from him. Didn't like him.
Right.
And it's interesting because Manson ended up taking Melcher home and dropping him off.
No.
And Melcher called his mom and goes, "Yeah, I just met this guy." And she goes, "Hey, dude, you got to move out of that house. You can't let that guy know that you live there.
Yeah.
Especially after turning him down, it's a problem." So Terry Melcher did. He moved out and he rented his house out. And he happened to rent his house out to Roman Polanski and Sharon Tate.
Oh.
So, and Manson had come over after he'd moved out.
If you don't know the story behind that whole story, it's a gruesome, gruesome story. That's the whole reason why all of those folks are in jail. Go look it up, get all the particulars. But man,
there's a connection to the other house that was hit too.
Really?
That's my
fail.
My alarm. Sorry. There's a connection to the other house that was hit as well.
Yeah.
But they had said that the Manson murders were random and stuff, and I think this kind of proves that they weren't. So Manson had, like I said, he came over and Polanski told him, "You got to go. Get out of here. Like, that dude's not here. Get out." And apparently took it personal.
Laid the seed for what happened later. Maybe.
Yeah. Who knows? Crazy. Manson was nuts, right?
Yeah,
but a lot of people think he was part of. He was in the federal system when MK Ultra was going on.
I was about to say MK Ultra.
Yeah,
that's another rabbit hole. A whole bunch of stuff.
He also talks about using those techniques with his family.
Right, we got to save that for another day. Talk about that. That's another one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was super cool. It went into that. It went into Dennis Wilson passing away sadly, and he drowned. Right. Going to get his fiance's jewelry off the side of the boat. Don't drink and swim in the ocean. By the way, it's a bad idea.
Bad idea. So what was the name of the documentary?
Oh boy, that's a really good question. I think it's just Beach Boys documentary.
Beach Boys documentary. Yeah, if you look it up, I'm sure
you'll find it. Yeah, it's relatively
pretty
new.
Recent. Yeah.
And like I said, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. And it's their father, who was their manager, ended up suing them, and he sold off all the rights, took all the cash, sold off all the rights to their songs.
Gosh.
And gave them nothing. And he sold it for $700,000.
I mean, for now, that's a lot of money now, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
back then I'm sure that was more than
It was a lot of money then, but it's
Yeah.
nothing compared to what they were really worth.
My goodness.
And I mean, considering how big that they were, and something else I learned in there was when they were talking about the Beatles, which I had heard before. Beatles are not. I know everybody loves the Beatles, and I'm not a fan really. Not that they are terrible or anything. It's just
There's a couple songs.
they were too tailored for me. That's what it felt like. I know I'm like, hey, I like the Beach Boys, right? And I don't like the Beatles, but they nothing felt raw about it to me. And
No.
I found out that they didn't perform a lot of the songs that they recorded in studio because groups like the Wrecking Crew did a lot of their songs in studio, and they were unable to perform those songs. So that's pretty interesting.
No, interesting.
I've always liked, raw, I guess.
Yeah.
So real quick, some of the Wrecking Crew, some of the bands they worked with, Beach
Right.
Boys, Monkees, Phil Spector, The Byrds, Simon and Garfunkel, Mamas and the Papas, Frank Sinatra,
Wow.
Nancy, Glenn Campbell, The Association, Everly Brothers, Partridge Family,
All right. Oh,
Captain
they're kinda
Tennille.
all over the place.
Yeah,
Wow, that's cool.
62 to 72. So I mean,
All right.
pretty cool. Yeah, they're super famous, and like I said, I think there's a documentary on them as well.
Yeah.
But
So check out the Unnamed Beach Boys.
yeah, I guess I could figure it out. Right?
Documentary. Yeah, it's all right. Just giving you a hard time.
Let's see.
Clickety clack, clickety clack.
Oh dang it! It's gonna tell me all about that.
Yeah, that's all right. So
Let's see if he gets that.
Yeah, pulls it up.
It's like, Doc, here's the documents you wanted. The Beach Boys. Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
the
it's
Beach
called
Boys.
the Beach Boys.
2024. Yeah,
That's a pretty creative name there. Yep.
yeah. They had to search real hard for that.
Yeah.
I guess you can see it on Disney Plus if you're crazy enough to have a
Oh,
subscription
boy.
there.
Yeah. No. Darn it. Shucks.
But I didn't watch it on Disney Plus.
Sail on the high seas.
I can't say where I did,
Yeah,
but I didn't
right.
watch
Sail
it
on the
there.
high seas.
So.
Yeah, fun stuff.
Yeah.
So, all right, we're gonna
Let's
switch
move on, yeah.
topics. Yeah, we're gonna do a quick little go around politics news. Just some of the highlights of the week. Stuff that people have talked about, all that kinds of stuff. The biggest, I think, story that came out for politics during the week was the Trump address to Congress. There was a lot of stuff that happened on there. I don't want to focus on all of the
Yeah, if you follow Trump at all, right? Or you followed what's been going
Politics,
on,
DC.
you know what he talked about.
You know what he talked about. You know what happened. There's no reason to rehash any of that kinds of stuff. There was, a lot of craziness. We wanted to focus on the positive, and the specific moment there really was a heartwarming moment, especially me, being a dad and stuff. The DJ Daniel moment. If you don't know, that was a young boy, multiple surgeries, brain cancer, came back from it, and he's still living his lifelong dream to be a police officer.
Yeah, to be a police officer.
And they took a moment to honor him and made him an honorary Secret Service agent. And as part of the clip, when they showed that, it wasn't just the surprise and the just the shock on the young man's face. It was also the look of proud, that the overflowing proud feeling from the father holding up his son.
Just
That was amazing.
the hug that he gave what's his name?
The Secret Service.
Yeah, the head of Secret Service.
They gave him his badge.
Yeah, they gave him his badge. Yeah, the hug that he gave him, you could see the joy and appreciation there, I think.
Right.
And it was really heartwarming for me. I'm a father as well. That was a really big deal to me. And then if you see later on when he's in the Oval Office and he gives Trump a hug, I mean, it's really...
This moment, you tell it
very
really
meaningful.
meant something. And when you have that genuine moment where it means something like that, it's a special thing. And you don't get that too much nowadays, especially when it comes to all the pity back and forth that's in DC, and that's really what stood out.
Yeah, the stuff that kind of stuff to me really matters.
Yeah.
Really, like I said, I think about it since it happened. I've thought about it every day because
Right.
I'm so happy and impressed by that.
Right.
That I haven't seen somebody do that in a long time. So
Right.
outside of there's a lot of actors and a lot of athletes that do stuff for kids a lot and stuff,
Right.
but you don't see politicians do it all that often.
No. Yeah.
So
that was good.
that was impressive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it
Two
looks like
thumbs up.
about 900 agencies have so far done that with
Oh,
him.
wow.
which is pretty awesome. I know I saw a picture of him with the Texas Rangers,
Oh, nice.
and that was really cool.
That's another one. Yeah.
And a year ago, the reason that they did this is a year ago, there was a video that went viral of him being bullied. And he was being bullied by,
That's a shame.
some
People in
really
people in his
nice
community.
people in his
Yeah.
community. Great job,
Yeah.
bullying a
Well,
little kid who's a cancer patient.
unfortunately,
Because they're misdirected, and
Right.
God help them. Those people.
Right.
God help those people and lead them in the right direction. Because it must be terrible to think that way.
I gotta say, and it's hard, man, because we all did stupid stuff when you're kids.
Yeah.
And we were just fortunate enough to not have cameras everywhere and do it.
But I'd like to think, as terrible as I was, I never would have done that.
Absolutely, probably not. But
I mean, now if one of my friends came around with a, uniform on, which one of them did,
right, depends on what time
they,
of my life.
they would get, there would be some problem maybe. But anyway,
a
that was
hard
heartwarming. That was really cool.
Yeah, very much so. Something else that jumped up was the Epstein list. Big disappointment that was, and kind of after the blowback, they kind of decided that we're gonna release more. That the stuff that I released, that Pam Bondi released in the so-called Phase 1 was stuff that's already been out for quite a long time.
Except for 10 pages.
Except for 10
10 new
pages.
pages,
10
which
new
really
pages.
in those
But
10
there wasn't
pages, there was
anything.
like 2 snippets of info. I think I had
Right.
watched a clip of
As far as
a couple names.
the most updated information that I seen was Pam Bondi. I think it was today or maybe it was yesterday. She made an announcement that she was going to release some more. Yeah, it should be on her page, Pam Bondi. But she was letting everybody know that there still was going to be redactions.
And there has to be for the
No,
victims.
it's not on attorney. Maybe it is on Attorney General. She was kind of saying that there was, planned that there's going to be not just for victims, but there's going to be redactions because of national security, which was a big letdown.
Because some of the real names can't be released.
Well, I don't think it's because of the real names. I think it's real names, right? Well, that's the reason why, right? Is that the rich and connected that are involved with this probably made a backroom deal, whatever that meant.
I mean, I'd like to know
It's just a shame, man. I don't
what happened
care.
to the piles of tapes
Right.
that came out of that dude's place.
And this is my perspective on it. I don't care if it's right. I don't care if it's left. If you're doing that kind of stuff, man, you need to be, let's break out the wood chippers. Like,
Yeah, 100%.
That's it. I don't care who
I
you
don't see
are.
it.
You're involved in that kind of stuff. That's why, we were talking about Red Hot Chili Peppers, man. It's just,
And
it's kind of inexcusable, man. Bring out the wood chippers.
Yeah, no, I'm very, with the Epstein list and stuff, I am understanding about some of it. For instance, Donald Trump flew on his plane. He did not fly to the island at any point.
Right. There's a difference between...
And he's admitted going from Florida to New York
Right.
and back and forth. And not just him, his son was on there, but not going to Petoville Island.
The way I look about it, when I look at these
And I'm
lists-
okay with, there was a, what's his name? There was a musician who flew out once, came back, and never go back out. I don't have a problem with that. If you end up going out for a legitimate, who am I to say that you didn't go out for a legitimate party? You had no idea, or you did have an idea and you're like, hell no, and you left.
Right. Well, that's it, right? You got to take in context.
But if you've been there 29 times, like, who?
Yeah, right. That's it. And that's the thing. Like, there's a difference between if you're hopping on a flight from Florida to New York, if you're hitching a ride, and then there's a difference where, like, if you went to the island once, or if you went to the island 29 times, there's a reason you're going back.
Yeah, once or twice is something that, depending
even
on
twice.
Well, you just never know. Like, it could be a legitimate thing twice.
Maybe.
But I feel like
Once is enough to raise my hackles, man. That's enough to raise suspicion for me. After that, there's no excuse, I don't think. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm maybe there. Hey, there's the picture we were just talking about earlier, right there.
Yeah. Good job,
a
dude.
great shot, man. Yeah, great job.
Look at the dad there, man.
He's
Look
so
at how
happy.
proud that
Look
dude
at his
is.
face.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's
That is
awesome, man.
Epic. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it really is. Really is epic. But yeah, so I'm really hoping with that. I feel like I wish that they were a little more. I guess because the importance to me is pretty important, right, to a lot of us, and I would like to see updates more, like daily, constant, right, like almost like, hey, this happened, and this is why it happened, and this is exactly what's happening. This is the steps we're taking, and there has been that. It's just not as fulfilling as I would like it to be, I guess.
Yeah, it's just this was like this is like a.
But everybody knows the top names are on that list. That's
right.
the problem.
And that's the thing, yeah. I just, man, I want these people to get like their comeuppance, man. That's it. You know, I'm not going to judge them, but like they need to be known. They need to be, you know, exposed for who they are and what they do. You know, I'm just,
100%.
yeah. Yep, yep.
So, yeah, what's your feelings on it? I mean, write it in the comments. What do you think?
You a fan of Epstein? No.
Yeah.
No,
don't write
put
that in our comments.
Yeah, yeah, go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
no.
jail.
Yeah, right. Pretty much. But yeah, so as we get more information, we'll post more information here because this is a particular item that's pretty important to both of us, and we want to make sure that we get all the information out that we can.
Yeah, and I'm fully like, you know, I have no attachment to anybody.
Yeah.
You know, Pam Bondi, I hope she does a great job. But she's got to fulfill on what she says.
Yeah, got to fulfill
And
those obligations.
She's got to figure it out.
No matter what that takes, man.
No matter what it takes. Same with Cash and everybody else, Tom Homan, everybody else that's in there.
Yeah.
They've got to do their jobs. And
you know,
I do not care what your name is. I don't care what side you sit on.
Right.
What I care
It's
about
doing
is
what's right.
Do what's right. Yeah,
That's
100%.
right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. No, so we'll shift away from politics. That's enough, man. I can only take so much of that stuff before my
don't wanna do
stomach
this.
starts to turn. You know.
Well, I guess that is. Right?
Yeah, we can move over to some entertainment news. There was the Act Blue stuff I wanted to get into. Yeah, Matt didn't know too much about Act Blue, so I figured I'd do a quick rundown about it. So we'll go through it a little bit, talk a little bit about it, and then we'll move on to some more news or entertainment news, that kind of stuff. Act Blue, basically, quick rundown, is the apparatus, the online apparatus where Democrat parties from top down collect online donations, right? There was a pretty big scandal, if I remember right, about a year ago, 9 months ago, where James O'Keefe, the O'Keefe Media Group, went through and exposed a lot of what looked like purely fraudulent donations, where they would come in and they'd find some lady or some guy that was 75 years old, and they're like, "Hey, can we talk to you for a moment? Hey, did you donate?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, I donated $25 once a couple of years ago." And then he would come up and he'd pull up their specific, because you can look this stuff up online, he would pull up their specific donation history, and it turned out like one lady donated $200,000, like $100 at a time, and there was days where like she would donate 50 times in a day for small amounts.
Oh,
right?
wow.
And this was like, he had the ones that he showed on the video was like 6 or 7 old folks that they were taking advantage of and doing this stuff. So I believe towards the end of last year, Texas, their Department of Justice announced that they were going into investigations, which has since been raised to the federal level, and now that there is investigations going on there, that there's been a lot of folks at the top that have started backing out. A lot of stuff's getting deleted, stuff's disappearing. Some of the heads of Act Blue have stepped down.
That's always a good sign. By the way.
That's always a good sign. Since June 2004, it looks like they've raised $13.7 billion for candidates across the United States in their infrastructure.
And they charge almost 4%.
All right. So what's that 4%?
Well, I did the math. Let me do the math in my head. Oh, I actually did it on my phone. It's about $21.3 million.
Yeah, that's a nice payday.
That's not bad. For
nice
I do think that maybe I should start a 501c and make $21 million. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah, well, USAID's gone now, so the free money.
Dang, I'm not gonna give you money.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
So wow.
I'm just interested to see what's going like this. I've got like we were talking about before, I care about what's right. This is kind of stuck in my craw, because where's this money coming from? If you have 75-year-old man, 80-year-old man who's donating $2,000 a day, and he's 20 times a day, he's he's supposedly giving donations. That's just where's that money coming from? That's what I want to know. Is it coming from overseas? Is it coming from places that it shouldn't be? Obviously it is, because they would just give the money if it was from a legitimate source. But like, is that money that's being laundered through?
Well, this is real nice right here, right?
What's that? Go ahead,
Stolen
read it.
identity theft. and then that person whose identity theft was stolen was donating to the to Act Blue.
Wow.
That's convenient.
That's convenient.
Interesting.
I just,
it's super.
what I'm worried about it is, with all the USAID fraud that's going on, well, fraud or misuse of funds.
Yeah, I would say misuse.
There's
just
no
because
evidence
they were
of
being
fraud.
allowed to do it.
Right.
So
No.
it's not fraudulent.
Right. No evidence of fraud yet. Right. So they're still looking. I'm pretty sure it's coming down the pipe, but for instance, for interests of being accurate, I want to know, is money from our government going to Act Blue? Right. I wouldn't be surprised of that at this point, if it's going to, an NGO, and then all of a sudden they've got this bank of people that are funneling that money back through the Democratic Party. You know what's going on. There was a story coming about. There was a story that came out a few months ago about that there was money from Ukraine, the war effort that was finding its way back into the United States.
I mean, I would not doubt it.
Anyway, I don't care if it's right. I don't care if it's left. But this kind of shenanigans, man, has got to stop. It's time for,
Well, I'm all about helping people. I'm just about helping them here.
Yeah.
Because, you have to clean up your house first before you
Right.
can do other things.
I get.
We have a lot of house that needs to be cleaned in this country. And,
Right.
if there's veterans that are dying of drug overdoses or mental health
Exactly.
problems or whatever on the street,
Or North Carolina.
and we're sending money for whatever,
Right.
it doesn't matter what it is. I
Right.
don't care what it is. If it's for
Right.
food for other, I don't care what it is.
Right.
We should be taking care of ours
Right.
so that we can eventually maybe spread that goodness other places, but
That's
we're not
what-
good right now.
That's what really lit a fire under me about this kind of thing when I saw what happened to the folks in North Carolina.
Oh yeah, it's terrible.
There's people freezing to death out there. Americans freezing to death. And
Well, that's a whole nother thing.
then
right?
be like, oh, here you go. Here's a check for
Here's $700, dude.
$700. Yeah.
Good
Yeah, I
luck.
know you lost your kid last night because he froze to death in your tent and you're trying to stay warm, but here's a check for $700. Don't spend it all in one place.
Right.
Yeah, get out of here, man.
Here's billions for whatever
infuriating.
program in Uganda. I mean,
Yeah,
who cares?
right. No, and
I mean, no offense to anybody in Uganda, just, we have to focus here first. And, that's what I want. I realize that my tax money is not actually going to any of these things because
Right.
this is all borrowed. But eventually,
I've had a long history of disappointment and anger and frustration when it comes to bureaucracy as a whole. It just as a personal note, there's not a time or a chapter in my life that I haven't tried to move into where the government hasn't actively tried to step on whatever I'm trying to do to make it harder or financially difficult to do. So this is from high school on, so a good 30 years of just
I'm very
making problems.
very libertarian, so I believe in volunteerism in terms of taxation and
Yeah.
instead of stealing it and putting
Yeah.
you in prison for not paying it.
Absolutely.
So that's just like I said, I believe in a lot of crazy things too. So it doesn't mean I'm right. It just
Yeah.
means that that's how I feel. So when I hear things like this, I'm like, yeah, there should be checks and balances and
And there should be.
the
And that's
propaganda that
problem.
we see on both sides. It doesn't matter what side.
Right.
There's crazy going on both sides, and there's a lot of infighting, and but what's actually happening, anytime that there's an audit of something, the only people who are scared in the audit are people who are scared of who are doing things bad.
You hit the nail on the head
That's
there, and the point that you made, and I just want to reiterate that, is that there's going to be money spent, tax money, that I don't agree with. There's going to be tax money spent on things that you don't agree with.
Yeah, like all of
That's
it.
just going to, right. Well, not you, I'm the colloquial you,
yeah,
you out
everybody.
there. Right. And looking at that, it's not the money spent that's the issue. We can talk about and discuss where the money goes, right? It's the complete and utter breakdown of the checks and balances that made me support the let's shut them down. Shut them down. Department of Education, EPA, IRS, start going down USAID. FBI. Close it down. The complete and utter breakdown of the checks and balances and the ability for them to self-regulate that has totally failed has changed my opinion on that to where I'm at the point where we just need to get the government almost as small as possible at this point.
And I'm not. I think it's easy to say that. It's easy to see as well that throwing money at things doesn't make it better. There has to be a plan of action, in place, right? And we see this in with homeless in California and stuff.
Right.
The amount of money that's thrown into that is insane, and nothing happens because people are incentivized to allow it to continue because they're being paid to do it. It doesn't work.
There's a great story that stuck with me long time ago when I was living back down there. It was the LA County. They were having problems where they had there was a big street and they had two buildings on opposite sides of the street where a lot of the government business was going on. And they were having problems. There were so many homeless on the streets in between these two buildings that the bureaucrats going from building A to building B were having problems and getting assaulted and robbed and stuff, which is horrible, right?
Yeah, it's terrible.
So the city got together and made a plan to fix this homeless problem, right? And they decided we're going to allocate $7 million to fix this problem, right? All these homeless on this road that are getting in our way. Do you know what they did? They spent the $7 million building a sky bridge from one building to a next instead of dealing with the homeless problem.
Because it fixed their problem.
Right, it fixed their problem, right? That's exactly what I'm talking about. That just encapsulates totally
that's government.
What I'm talking
right
about.
Now.
Right, exactly.
And like I said, I'm not I'm very libertarian. I believe in volunteerism, like I said, but if you're going to take my money, please put it towards something that makes everybody's lives better. Here, on the ground level, the people who are paying the money.
Right.
And it's disgusting to me to
and I might not agree with it.
Never happening.
And
I might not either,
but
for sure.
Here, at least spend it here on something.
And not to mention, if something's not working, you have to be open to changing it.
Right.
And they're not.
Right.
Ever.
It's just like, well, that's
throw more at it.
Been going on in 20. Well, and that's funny. That's like a saying in business. It is if you're in business and you have a problem, you do two things: one, you throw people at it, or two, you throw money at it. That's like the general idea of problem solving in business.
And then you become Kmart.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And you go. Right. So anyway,
excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's so there's a lot there. But I just wanted to draw attention to Act Blue. The investigation's going on. People are, the rats are jumping off the ship. Hopefully we'll have more, information when it comes to that to kind of bring it back around. Just because, I think a lot of the corruption problems will go away if we can get a handle on the financial aspects of it in the government. So that's why I'm kind of supportive of what Doge is doing in the government. They don't have any ability to actually do anything just to bring it to light, and I think that's an amazing thing because people need to see that.
I think that if you have a problem with it, you should ask yourself why,
right, and
really look into it. I mean, are you okay with not having a say in where your money goes,
right?
And then are you okay with where it is going? And then if that is the truth, are the majority of Americans okay with it? Because that's where it comes in, and I'm not okay with my money going just about anywhere,
right?
Okay, but I'm an American, and I realize that that's not real. So my voice, I want to have a voice in where it does go.
Exactly.
And if 60% of the population decides that they want money to go to Uganda to go fund whatever, and I'm on the losing side, the 40%, I'm on the losing side. Yeah. I'm on the 40% side. That sucks. But that's not what happened.
Right. No,
that's not what happened. And polls show that Americans do not want to be doing that.
Yeah, it's not what happened. You had an unelected group of people that just said, hey, we've got this big pile of money. We're going to just
Rand Paul has been calling to this stuff for, 10 years.
Right.
He's been reading off these accounts on the congressional floor.
Well,
I listen to him a lot, right? Reading these things, and he'd be like, can you just justify it to me? And nobody can, right?
Right, of course
not. And, he's been doing, he's had so much to say about it. There's a new thing. He's been reading something new constantly. It's never stopped. And his dad before him, right? So it's kind of...
it comes back to the accountability thing.
Yeah.
Because...
Yeah, be accountable.
You have this whole Act Blue thing going on.
Yeah, do what's right for the American people. Be accountable to the American people. That is your job.
That's the bottom line, right? For instance, love him or hate him, Dinesh D'Souza, which in all disclosure, I've watched a couple of his videos.
Pretty good pronunciation.
I, there's some of the things he says that, are like, okay, that makes sense. And, I can see where you're coming from. And then there's other stuff I'm like, I think you're jumping to conclusions, right? In all honesty. So, but there was an instance where he was wrong, where he asked a friend, I believe it was, to spend money on his behalf, and then he refunded his friend because he was trying to raise money for a friend of his that was running for office, right? And the letter of the law is that is illegal, right? That's considered, a donation in kind. You can't do that. Spend almost a year in jail, right? But then you've got this $13 billion, and nobody bats an eye. And I think that's an issue. I think that's an
100%.
issue. And if there's going to be any, what's the word I'm looking for? If there's going to be any legitimacy, right? I guess is probably the word. There has to be accountability, if that makes sense.
100%.
I guess that's kind of like where I want to wrap.
Yeah, it's got to be equal.
Yeah,
on all sides here.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So we'll shift gears on that. I think that's a good way to stop. Good place to stop there.
For sure. Yeah, in the comments, what do you think?
Yep.
Do you enjoy being taxed? Maybe you do. If you do, I mean, hey,
right,
you know what? I know a lot
right?
of, well, I don't, okay, that's a lie. I don't know a lot of people that enjoy it, but I know a couple people who do not mind it.
Yeah, let's talk about it, right? Yeah, have a discussion.
And like I said, I'm open enough to where my mind can be changed on some things for sure.
Yeah.
I do see benefit in some social programs. I almost threw up when I said that, but it is true.
Oh,
I do see the need, I should say. If they're done right, then I'm okay
That's
with
the
it.
key, right? Yeah. All right. So let's move on to some entertainment news, right? We've got some gaming news to go over, and then we've got a.
You want to talk about that? You want to talk about that Jeff Bezos just bought 007?
Man, that put a dagger in my heart, man, because.
Well, you know where it's not going to go. It's not going to go to space.
It's not. I gave that up real quick. Man, I got to tell you, I'm definitely not happy with the way Amazon's treated a couple of these IPs because, in all disclosure, one of my favorite book series in the entire world was The Wheel of Time. That's 13 books.
They really did that.
They're
that
amazing.
Series
huge.
Justice, didn't they?
It was. I'm sorry. I'm sure a lot of people
first episode,
were.
they erased the reason, the whole plot of the entire series.
Right.
Maybe it was
to wrap it up, the book, it's a high fantasy series. There's magic, there's, sword battles and all kinds of good stuff, with some like unexplained mysterious technologies involved and stuff like that. And it's a really amazing book series by Robert Jordan and Brian Sanderson, which is Brian Sanderson's one of my favorite authors, by the way. But to wrap it up, I don't want to get into the Wheel of Time because it's 13 books and they're like between 800 and 1300 pages in each. 14 books.
Yeah.
And
don't forget about newsprint.
But the bottom line is, the through theme of the series was that there's duality. There's men and women. They are excellent in their fields, and when they work together, amazing things happen. When they work against each other, bad things happen, right? That was the kind of an idea, and there was all kinds of strife between the male and female side of magic, I guess.
And the cultures.
And the cultures.
Throughout the land, right?
Absolutely.
They were super strong.
All kinds of conflict.
Wonderful cultures throughout the land that didn't get along together.
But they
were amazing on their own.
Yeah. And it was super deep world building, and it was amazing. But they kind of just erased that all for like modern, like the women are the best at everything and the men are dumb. And it just made no sense.
Yeah, there's two sides to the magic. One is male, one is female. The females could not utilize the men's. The men's could not utilize the females.
Right.
The men's was stronger in a way, but more chaotic, basically.
Right.
And they completely got rid of that. And it is literally...
And the women's were more steady, more intricate, and more detail oriented, and they could do the fine stuff.
Yes, fine-tuning and things.
And, some of my favorite scenes in the book, and it happened a couple of times.
And erasing that, I mean, it absolutely destroys the entire...
The whole
backbone.
Story of the book, what it was all about.
Yeah.
And
disgusting.
Some of my favorite scenes in the book, and it happened it happened a couple of times where you had these amazing, huge, world-changing events, and then you had men look at it and you had women look at it, and they saw completely two different things, looking at the same event that happened and standing right next to each other. And that was amazing to see the thought process between the two, and it just made it interesting where they threw that all out the window, where they're like, men are just stupider version of women. It's like sad. The way they wrote it, and it was sad.
It's sad.
But we got off topic, a little bit. I'm just not happy.
Gosh, we were talking about 007.
We were talking about 007, and that's what kills me. Is I saw what they did to one of my favorite book series of all time, and now they're going to one of my favorite movie series of all time is 007, and I am just not excited at all that Jeff Bezos decided to just write a check for all of the, all of the IP. There's a lot of and fair, disclosure. I'm saying that word a lot today. There's a lot of the older movies that don't fit with the modern audience, and you just got to take them for what they are, right? But I worry, are they going to be here a year from now? Are they going to be here, 5 years from now? What are they going to go, when you have Sean Connery?
I'm not going to buy stock in
it. Right. Well, excuse me, sorry, getting over cold. One of my favorite 007 movies, you have Sean Connery, who is, not British, playing a British special agent, and then playing, as an Asian man undercover. So it's kind of like that, the meme,
It's got a Scottish accent into a British accent.
And playing an Asian, right? Playing an Asian guy, and it's like I'm great. A dude playing another dude, if you get if you get the reference. But it's funny, some of it's, it's tongue in cheek. They're awesome action movies, and they're just great, and I'm sad to see what they're going to do with it. And you
know what? They might do something great. You never know, but
rings of power.
It's to me, I've really only watched the Sean Connery films, and I've only watched the Pierce Brosnan Bond. Right. And the only reason I watched the Pierce Brosnan Bond was because I loved GoldenEye, the N64 video game.
Right, of course.
I've always wanted to watch more of them, but it's like when I was a kid, what was on TV was the Sean Connery ones, so that's what I would end up watching,
Roger Moore was pretty good.
Yeah,
I mean, Sean
like
Connery's
Roger
my
Moore
favorite,
too.
of course. I thought Daniel Craig did a good job, too.
I like Daniel Craig as well.
I didn't like the last movie. I think, and spoilers, the movie's been out for a while, so fair warning, spoilers, right? 3, 2, 1, you can click ahead in the video. The way they kill Bond in the end of the movie was just not, I didn't like it.
Oh, I should have left it to 3, 2, 1.
Too late now. Now you know. And I just, never in any of the movies did Bond die, and it's not just that. I don't like the way they set it up for him to die. I think they tried to give him like some big, honor farewell, and it just didn't play right to me. It fell flat. It felt like he was, towards the end of the movie, he's unaliving himself, basically bringing the weapons, the missiles onto himself to sacrifice himself. There's a virus that's tuned to his genetics that if he lives, then his children will die, or his family line will die because they have his genetics. So
wait, you're telling me that in the last James Bond movie, they killed James Bond and then Jeff Bezos bought the franchise?
Yep.
Oh, I will take bets if anybody would like to take bets. I know you're not supposed to gamble, but...
Wait. Before you say what you're going to think, because I want to cut you off there. There was actually 2 007s, quote unquote, in the last movie.
Oh.
They had the 007, which was Daniel Craig, who was retired and wasn't officially 007 anymore, even though they were following him in the movie. About halfway through the movie,
that's who they killed.
They introduced the current 007, which was a woman who was bald. And
so I can't bet, because
you can't
that
bet,
would have been
that's
my,
exactly what you call
that's
it.
what happened. Okay.
Yeah, no, they did.
I haven't seen this, by the way, but I could have wrote it, apparently.
You could, right. Well, you got as much talent as most of Hollywood nowadays, I think. But that's basically what it was. They were like, oh, there's this strong, independent woman.
Wait, no, I can't do it.
And you know what? Before you write in the comments, don't get mad about it. I don't care if a woman is badass in a movie. Red Sparrow was a movie that I watched not too long ago.
Red Sparrow, yeah.
Dude,
it's a fun movie.
She kicked ass in that movie, right? That was an awesome movie, right? And it had nothing to do with her being a woman.
Okay, Hunger Games.
It's just a problem. Hunger Games, another awesome movie. She's a chick. Who cares? She kicked ass, right?
Charlie's Angels.
It's not the fact that there was a woman. It's the fact that it's 007, and it's 007's not a woman, right?
Not typically, no.
it's
I liked G.I. Jane when it came out, okay?
right.
So,
That's a good movie.
dude.
It's a good movie. There's nothing wrong with having women in action roles. It's that when you're co-opting an established franchise to subvert it, to push personal opinion, where it falls flat, and I want to walk
Yes,
away from it.
but how else are you going to destroy tradition if you don't do that?
Right. Now that gets into a whole another, right. Yeah, we got to do
That's
it.
another podcast.
Tear it down to
or
build
two.
anew, right? And you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's heartbreaking. Boil it down. It's heartbreaking. I'm not excited. I'm pretty sad. Makes me not want to, participate in the IP at all anymore. But we'll have to see. I don't, maybe he'll surprise me. I doubt it. Like if I was a betting man, I wouldn't put money on that's going to be any good.
Yeah, me either.
All right, on to gaming. Yeah, kind of got some of the depressing stuff out of the way. We're moving to something a little more fun. Just want to give a quick haha, lol, lol at Ubisoft and their
Oh, yeah. 90% discount.
90% discount
Yeah.
on their whole catalog. Man, we talked about this last time, but I wouldn't be surprised if Ubisoft is not around in its current form by the end of the year. I just don't. Man, they're out of money.
Yeah. Assassin's Creed's enough to be really good for them if they're going to stay in business. I don't see that. I mean, they're prolonging it because they know what the market is right now.
Right.
But they know what the sentiment for the game is.
I don't fall into that. Like, that kind of jumps into something we were going to talk about in a minute. A lot of these video game companies that are failing, they're using the excuse like, well, times are tough, nobody's buying video games, and then you look at Monster Hunter. Look at Monster Hunter right now. Tell me people aren't buying video games right now.
Take a look at Monster Hunter right now.
Pull it up and see.
Steam
Last
DB.
I heard, they sold 8 million copies in 3 days.
So,
I personally am playing Monster Hunter. I've put a little bit of time in it. Playing on PS5, and it's a good game. I know people have had issues with it as far as when you're not running newer rigs, and you running a machine that's a couple of years old or something. You're having issues running it. But yes, I agree that the game should run better for PC. But that just goes to show why consoles are better than PC, I guess.
what?
I knew I'd get a reaction.
He was expecting me to not listen, apparently. Yeah, mine, I run in about 185 frames.
Okay.
And it's when I did the benchmark, I was running at 140.
Okay.
So, and you know what?
That's decent.
I have a 3080, so I have a 5-year-old card.
Okay.
So all these, but there is drops at certain moments, and I think that's the engine showing its age. I think it's the same engine they've used for Worlds even.
Wow.
So I think that's the engine showing its age. I just don't think that there's too much more. They're going to have to really fix that for next time.
Right.
It's not like it's a Unreal 5 game where the optimization is puke. They really have to go in and tune that. Not that UE5 is not great. UE5 is great.
The game looked good. It's not going to win any awards for being
it looks
mega
good.
detailed, but it looks good.
But that's the issue, I think, is they're really, there's a lot of people on it, and more eyes than there's ever been on that engine. And, it's always had a little bit of hard time running. Even like Rise, who was developed for Nintendo, didn't run good on Nintendo, in my opinion. But I do game on PC, like you said, so I'm usually 120 frames plus. So if I jump on something like,
No, I agree.
Switch, it's like,
So, a couple of shout-outs, good stuff for Monster Hunter Wilds. Like the
you
game
can
was
see here, right?
Yeah, super positive reception for the most part, other than the PC, optimization issues, which totally understand.
And really, there's a lot of people who are talking about console optimization issues. People were having trouble too.
I haven't had a single drop.
But
off.
like I said, you probably wouldn't notice a frame dip because you play on consoles. It's so normal to have 30 frames.
Frame dip. I haven't been booted from a game. I haven't found a broken quest. I haven't found unfinished graphics. I haven't had.
Oh yeah, I don't know if any of those were serious.
The game, as far as the mechanics in the game, run flawless, right? And not just that, the game was out a week 1 week the game was out, and they dropped 2 new quests. They just said, hey, update. It's not a live service game. You're not paying a monthly service where all these new games that are coming out, $15
monthly
a
services,
month,
yeah.
$20 a month, yeah, and we'll keep giving you updates. And
Yeah.
nope, not this game. They're like, hey, thanks for buying the game. Here's some new content just for being here. Right?
So what do our charts look like? Let's see. Well, that's excellent, man. Sitting
Number
in
2.
second place there.
Yeah.
And I mean, it overtook Counter-Strike for a time, which does not happen very often here.
Right.
Okay. So, yeah. What did we look at last time? Was it Avowed, right?
Yeah, it was Avowed.
Let's see where Avowed's sitting at. I guarantee everybody's seen a dump because of Monster Hunter, but yeah. So that's about half of what it was last time.
5,000. Dude, think about that. 5,000. Not even. They didn't break 5,000 in a 24-hour player peak. 5,000 people just in a country of the United States. You know, it's amazing. It's amazing. It just goes to show you. This just goes to show you. And it's not a complicated, equation for fixing this game. Make a game. Give the fans what they want. Make a fun game. Make a decently running game. Right? That's it. That's it. You don't. Not every game has to be like a game breaker. And you know what? This is honestly. Looking at Monster Hunters and being honest, the game, if there was other games that had been out that were kind of decent at all, this game would be a solid B, right? And it wouldn't be a top tier game like it's being talked about and played with now. The reason why it is because there is nothing else out on the
very
market
few
right
things,
now.
unless you're going to go replay
Old games, right?
Elden Ring.
Right.
something,
Well,
right?
that's
Like,
it, right? There's nothing that's new that's out on the market now that's not even really any good.
Not. Yeah, I mean, well, PoE 2.
Well, PoE, right?
you know,
But see, they're even hitting.
But
the
they're
dip.
not. They're also not a.
And they've been out for a few months, right?
Yeah.
So,
And well, kind of out, right? They're still in early access, actually.
still early access, but
This is a full released game. Like 8 million units worldwide so far.
yeah,
So that's pretty good.
yeah.
That's
That's as of March 4th.
March 4th, yeah. I mean,
and
God
today's
knows.
7th,
Yeah.
so it could be over 10,
Yeah.
15. Who
So
knows
Avowed. I wonder what Avowed was. Let's take a look.
how many it's sold? Yeah.
The only reason I'm comparing Avowed
don't
is because
think-
it's a recent AAA
Well,
game that
the
launched.
problem is they went around this because it didn't sell very well, and then they announced it for free on
It's on
the
Xbox Game Pass.
Right. So they weren't going to originally do that, but nobody bought it, so they're trying to get money back.
No, I don't want to know that.
Yeah, they didn't. As far as I understand, they didn't announce anything. And if Steam numbers are any indication about how it sold or was interest in other platforms, I don't think it did.
Claim
very
the
well.
game reached 100,000 units.
Oh,
Steam was heading towards 200,000. Now,
that's not. There is no. Yeah, that's
Avowed peaked at
unacceptable.
17,000 players
See.
on launch day. Estimates suggesting a potential peak of 22 to 23,000 over the following weekend. Yeah.
So you have a planet
How much did it cost?
of what? 7 billion people, 8 billion people on the planet right now, something like that.
I think it's like 7. Yeah, 6.
And your
6
game is
billion.
so good. Out of that 8 billion people, you managed to get 17,000 people to play your game.
It's not good. It's not good.
Man, it's not good. Sorry about the chair. Well,
Let's see.
2 to 300 million.
Avowed wasn't developed with 2 3 million budget, seen in games like Spider-Man and Horizon.
Oh,
so,
okay. 80 to 120 million dollar.
120 million. Okay.
Well, see, that's the issue, right?
But it's speculative. We don't know.
No, it is. We
Outer
don't know.
Worlds was 30 to 60, which Outer Worlds was not bad.
Right.
It wasn't. No
See,
Man's
originally
Sky,
they were going to spend the $300 million on Avowed, and originally that was going to be a player online experience. It wasn't going to be a single player
live
game.
service is what it was
So
going to be.
yeah, it was going to be a live service,
Yeah.
multiplayer game, and they backed out on that and tried to change it. And that's probably why it's not. You have a game that's meant to have 100 players on a server, and then now you're in there by yourself. It's not fun. That's it.
Okay, so here's a game that I play. Now, nobody else I know plays this game.
Okay.
This is Pantheon: Rise of the Fallen.
Okay.
This is I love MMOs. I don't have enough time in my life to really play MMOs, but I like to just live in the world and play a little bit.
Explain what an
Just
MMO
run
is to the people that don't know.
So an MMO, massive multiplayer online, World of Warcraft. Is the best explanation I can give you because I'm
Bunch of
sure
people-
that you've heard of it. But EverQuest is like
Right.
the OG for people who, the OG popular
Right.
one would be EverQuest.
It's a bunch of people playing together on a server for a common goal, right? That's kind of what an MMO
Generally,
is.
yeah.
Right.
So it's a living world, living, breathing world that real
Right.
people are running around in, doing things, questing,
Right.
trying to do common objectives a lot of times,
Right.
or trying to hurt each other, whatever. Maybe
Right.
trying to take over different holds or whatever it may be.
Right.
Depends on the type of game you're playing. But this game was supposed to be like EverQuest 2.0. So it's very EverQuesty in terms of there is no like traditional quest lines and things like that, like World
Okay.
of Warcraft or something. It's basically you spawn, walk in the world, start killing mobs.
It's more of a realistic style of more of a gritty, realistic fantasy. Would that be like accurate to describe it?
It's yeah, I guess it's more in the line of
It's-
like an EverQuest.
It's
of,
less about find the exclamation point, get the quest, go collect the
Yeah,
stuff,
no,
bring
you
it
don't do
back.
any of that.
No, it's like you're walking around in a city and
You're-
talk to people, and then
yeah, and
you know.
and you mainly you're going to be camping mobs and killing mobs for
Okay.
gear
Gotcha.
until you get good enough gear to go into a dungeon and try to do the same thing.
Okay.
And
So you're kind of, and there's no like cities. You're just kind of out in the wilderness.
yeah, there's smaller towns right now. There's no cities in the game yet because it is early access. And,
Oh, gotcha. They're still nailing everything down.
Brad McQuaid from the original EverQuest is who launched this idea. But oh man, I don't know, 12 years ago or something.
Wow.
Maybe more than that. Maybe 15 years ago. And he passed away
Oh,
during the
gotcha.
development. So it's undergone several cycles, and it's got a very small team. Visionary Realms is who does it. And honestly, these numbers are good for this
Yeah.
game because if you can see the all-time peak, and here's our 24-hour peak, that's not a huge, humongous
Yeah,
loss. I mean,
not a
it's-
big drop off. That's good.
It's not terrible. It's not half.
It's not a large amount of people,
So-
but it's
But it's also not advertised. The game's
Right.
nowhere near finished. It's
right.
super grindy. It's only for the hardcore type of
Right.
old school MMO player. If you like EverQuest type play, this is
Gotcha.
like that with a little better graphics, a lot better graphics, but the graphics aren't great anyway.
Right.
It's done in Unity, so it's
Unity is the engine they're making
the
the video
engine
game in.
that they've made it in. Yeah, Unity 6. I just moved it up to, so it doesn't look terrible or anything.
It's just
but
probably not polished, right?
they don't have a lot of designers, so their UI isn't designed properly.
Gotcha.
It's not what they want it to be.
Just needs
Customization
time,
of
right?
characters
It needs time,
it needs
yeah.
to be
Yeah.
it needs to be in the oven for a while longer.
But you're having fun with it, you were saying.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, if you like old school, you want to give it a try. I think it's $30 to play. There's
Wow.
no subscription. You just jump in and play.
What are some of the highlights you'd say? A couple bullet points.
Some of the highlights, well, they've been having a bunch of GM drama, so that's some highlights, right? The GM's going in
boy.
favor a few people here and there, and then that turns into drama on Discord,
And
and,
then GM
that's fun.
is, you gotta
A
break
game
it
master.
down. Game master.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
game master. So somebody who works at the company who's in charge of keeping peace.
Right.
So basically, people flag mobs, and then they grief each other by doing that, and they go in and they steal mobs from each other. And they had like, hey, whoever can burn them quickest, do the more damage, gets the credit for the mob. And
Gotcha.
so bigger groups were,
Fighting.
Yeah, they were stealing it from other people and stuff. And
Gotcha.
it doesn't say you can't do that. And
Right.
GM got upset about it because
I can understand
a
that.
lot of people believe that the only reason the GM showed up was because the group is a group that's worked with the development of the game for a long time. So whatever though. For
Man,
me, I think I have a level 7 and 2 level 6s, and they just dropped a druid class, so I just started my druid.
Gotcha.
And that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's like 15 hours, 20 hours to be like level 7
Wow,
or so.
that's a lot.
So
Interesting. No, that's cool.
anyway, yeah, it's a good game.
I
It's
can
fun.
understand why they do that, though.
Old school
you,
fun.
You want to try to, when you're getting in games, especially games that are super grindy and like have a high learning curve and things like that, you want to mellow out that griefing and stuff, because if you allow that kind of
Yeah.
like negative culture
Yeah,
to
it'll
fester in a
erode your
game, it'll
base.
erode your player base, right? And that's for all Blizzard's faults, they did try to do that, at least in World of Warcraft for a long time. where a lot of the changes they did might not have always been the most popular, but I believe that a lot of the changes they made as far as quality of life were to try to mellow out that kind of
that type of behavior.
griefing, that type of behavior. Which, I can understand it. I think you should, in a game as big as WoW was, I think you should have had the servers where people could grief each other and just be like, no holds bars, Mad Max style, and then have the easy mode servers where people can go and play and have fun and be friends.
This is like, I'm not recommending that somebody go play this game, by the way.
Okay.
Unless you are totally okay with playing a game that is not finished, not even close to being finished.
Testing it, super grindy.
You're a tester.
Right.
It's super grindy. Yeah, if you die, you lose everything.
Oh, wow.
You have to go back and get your body.
Gotcha.
There's no map in the game.
Oh, wow.
So if you're out in the woods, there's no way to like mark where you were. You're just there.
Wow.
So that's one of my biggest complaints. I really think that I understand not having certain quality of life updates in the game because you want to keep the nostalgia.
Sounds like
a map is a big deal.
Sounds like they're trying to cater to that market that's super hardcore.
Yeah, which is why I'm surprised there's this many people, honestly.
Yeah.
Because another game that is similar, that I also played for quite some time and is a really fun game, Project Gorgon. This is made by a husband and wife. It's kind of scratches that similar itch, and you can see all-time peak 677.
Right.
It's held a third of its player base for a long time.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, this one's way more fleshed out. This game is Project Gorgon's way more fleshed out.
Right.
But it doesn't look nearly as good. And like I said, it's not as EQ-y. This one's way more EQ-y.
Huh. What does that mean?
So, EverQuest.
EverQuest.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Just because not everybody knows what
Yeah, EQ is. Yeah.
What the.
Yeah, and when you mentioned WoW, I saw the other day that retail. Retail's
right.
The current state of game.
Right.
Has about 500,000 people on at any given time. That's their average every day right now.
Yeah.
And Classic has around 380,000. What I say? Yeah, 380,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So when I say about 500,000, yeah,
about
so
500,000,
close to 1 million people total.
Wow.
That's pretty amazing
for a game
that old.
Yeah, that old.
Yeah,
That's
it's 11
amazing.
years old, man. That's a trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So we can move on from that.
Okay, move on.
Head down.
Trades. I had an interesting one of my commission works. Most of what I do is teach, as far as blacksmithing goes. But one of the commissions I had this week that I finished up was rather interesting, and might be getting a little too much in the weeds, but just to talk about it a little bit. It was a repair to an old cast iron stove. And if anybody knows anything about cast iron, it's super brittle, cracks easy. It's not like steel. It doesn't bend. If it's gonna, you try to lock it in a vise or something, it's gonna shatter like an eggshell, right? Super brittle. And a lot of the old, really nice looking stuff was made cast iron. That's just what they did. So had this old stove where one of the braces for the cabinet up above is for the bread warmer up above. The feet was completely broken off. And originally, when I took the job, spoke to the lady, I was under the impression that it was just cracked and it needed to be repaired, which is a far easier deal. When you have a crack in something, you're just making it strong again. Either cast iron, you're usually brazing it. That's the most common way to repair it, is using brass and a torch, and you brass braze it. There's a whole process to it. But when she brought it into the shop, I actually found like there was a whole 8-inch piece of the foot that was completely missing and not existent. So a lot of challenges involved in getting that correct, which I think it came out really good. The final process. I'll send some pictures over to Tab, and we'll see if he can't put those up in the video so you can see those. The idea of it was I had to hand forge this foot out with steel, and it was kind of a mix of both old world, new world. There was some electric welding involved. There was a lot of hand forging involved, bending the steel and that kind of stuff, to kind of recreate that. I even had to get the lathe out and do some milling, because there's slots for tabs to hold the whole bread warmer in place, and for the nuts and things to lock it down. what I ended up having to do was I had to actually end up doing a stick weld. And I used a high nickel rod. And what that did was kind of like almost like electrically brazing the steel with a high nickel rod. And it's very interesting trying to attach the steel to the cast iron and make it strong in one piece. It was pretty amazing process. And it definitely worked out well. It was a 4099 rod for those who are, familiar with welding. If you have the opportunity to take a look at it and try it, I would recommend it. The only thing I would give you, some tips on it, felt like the rod did burn really hot. So maybe if you're used to really cranking the amperage a little bit, back it off a little bit. You don't want to burn a hole in something. But yeah, 4099 stick welding. I was rather impressed with the final process, and that's the way I kind of did it, because doing some reading, there was some folks that and people that I trust said that maybe the brazing wouldn't be the best way to go when you're trying to meet the steel with the cast iron. So so far it came out real good, nice straight, nice clean, nice awesome weld, and everything came out good. So yeah, just thought I'd bring that up as one of my cool things I got to do this week. So
yeah, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, I can see it right in here that it's tailored for joining cast iron.
Yeah.
Right,
Yep, and other ferrous metal.
And other ferrous metals. Yeah.
There's also, I think it's
cool.
There's another one that's about half that, which has less of nickel. And, it mentions it in there.
Yeah.
A lot of times, 4099 cast iron. If you're doing some automotive applications, there's some guys out there that I know you guys like to do forebuying and that kind of stuff. This works great for that. If you're doing, modifications to like gearboxes, bushings, brake components, shackles, all that kinds of stuff. That works great. And it's a higher nickel version, so it's resistant to corrosion, and it's easier to machine or get a flap disc in there and smooth it out and clean it up after you're done.
Do you know what that means?
AWS nickel. And I don't remember what the CL is off the top of my head, but the N is the nickel content.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Well,
a
I
high
was just
nickel
wondering,
run.
because
Yeah.
when I see it, I thought Amazon Web Service, and I'm like,
Right.
that's not it.
No. The other rod that I thought about trying was a 4050, I think it was, or was it 4055? Off the top of my head, just had less nickel, but it's a harder rod. So this particular idea, for this particular instance, it wasn't high stress, right? It was something that could have had a not as strong joint, basically. And I just wanted to get it nice and pretty more than ultra strong. It wasn't a bushing for a car or something like that, So yeah, pretty interesting. We'll put some of the notes to the information that we'll put some links in the comments below if you're interested in getting some more information about that. So
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And then we'll
Can't wait to get some pictures. I'll toss some pictures in the video there.
Awesome. Throw it up on the Twitter
talking
too,
about.
and all the Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. We'll throw some
Sweet.
pictures up on that too, so you can take a look. Yep, and we'll see you there.
All right.
And I think as far the trades go, I think Tab's got a couple technology warnings.
Yeah, just a couple little interesting
Heads
revelations in technology. One is TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company.
I
They're
heard
coming
about
to the
this.
United States. Yeah.
Yeah. Was
$100 billion.
$100 with a B. $100 billion investment in Arizona.
Yeah. So right now, I believe they have a facility that they've been building one, but they're building another one for just packaging.
That's awesome.
And they're building, I think, 3 more chip manufacturing plants in Arizona.
Wow.
So just for info, I mean, this is a big deal because they're a supplier for AMD, Intel, Apple, NVIDIA. So that right
That's
there,
like 90% of all.
so that's
computers.
all computing,
right?
And pretty much, for PCs and laptops,
Right.
basically. And that's also all graphics units.
That's amazing.
And then Qualcomm, which is Snapdragon, right? So that's cell phones for Android.
Okay. Gotcha.
MediaTek, which are an array of chips for tablets, TVs,
Okay.
for brands like Samsung, LG, Vizio, Amazon,
Gotcha.
Roku, Sony, Netgear, Peloton, which
Wow.
they can burn, Asus, Acer, Lenovo, Nokia, OnePlus, and
Whole bunch.
how do you say that? Xiaomi?
Yeah.
Naomi? What is it?
I don't
It's
know.
the Chinese cell phone, the largest cell phone manufacturer on the planet.
Gotcha. I don't
Xiaomi. Maybe that's it.
Xiaomi.
I think that might be it.
She. I don't know. X is she. So
Is it?
Xiaomi.
Xiaomi?
Xiaomi, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't really
I
matter.
could ask Rock, but
Chinese
Yeah.
cell phone.
it's their premier cell phone.
Right.
It's the largest. It's the most sold cell
Nice.
phone in the world.
Very cool.
Motorola as well. So and Tesla.
That's
They
amazing.
also
Wow.
they provide chips for everybody.
Huh.
So anyway, yeah, that's really good news for us
Right.
because we're gonna have that right in our back door.
All right. Hopefully it'll make
that sounded
phones
terrible.
cheaper, man. TVs. and
Yeah,
all that
I
kind
hope
of
so.
stuff. Yeah.
And then another thing going on in technology is if you are a gamer or a graphic designer or if you do anything with CAD or anything like that,
Okay.
a designer of any type, you
Right.
probably need some type of video graphics driver, dedicated GPU anyway, to not video graphics driver, I'm sorry, but a graphics processing unit of some sort, a dedicated GPU to do that. You have two choices right now there, NVIDIA and AMD. You do have Intel as a third choice.
Right.
They're pretty new to the game, and Intel's
Do your due diligence before you purchase
yeah,
something
for
like
sure,
that. Yeah.
and they're pretty weak. So if you're doing something big, you're not going to be using one.
Right.
I'm focusing more on the mid to higher tier,
Gotcha.
and high tier
Right.
is what I primarily look at. So anyway, for those of you who don't know, NVIDIA has had the RTX 4090 line for the last several years, and they just launched the
Which
50,000 series.
Which has been like the big dog, the
yeah,
champion.
the 4090 has been the big dog, yeah, on the
you know,
on the block.
Right.
So they just launched the 5000 series.
Okay.
So they launched a 570, a 570 Ti, a 580, and a 590. So the 590 is unbelievably good.
Okay.
I mean, seriously out of control. However, it's not without issue.
Okay. There's some,
let's see if we
some
can
things
just
to look for.
Pull up a little chart real quick so you can
Okay.
see what the 590 does to everything. So here's the FE. This is called Founders Edition.
Okay.
So we can see here the closest thing to it's a 4090,
Okay.
right? This is Dragon's Dogma in 4K max
Okay.
settings.
Video game in 4K.
So in 4K. And this is not like if you use a console, they upscale. This is not upscaled. This is 100%
This is legit
legitimate 4K.
Right.
132 frames. That's insane.
Yeah, that's
Right.
good.
So if we look at the 580, which is a
A step down.
$1,500 card, you're looking at 84 frames.
Wow.
This is a $2,200 card, the
Okay.
5090. But you can't get them for under $5,000
okay.
right now. Okay?
Everybody's scooping them up.
And on top of that, they were catching the connectors were melting.
Oh.
4090s also had a problem with it. The 4000 series, a couple of them had a problem with this as well.
Huh.
So
So this has been a
this has been an ongoing issue. Yeah.
Huh.
So
So it was with the 4090. What about so the 5080 didn't have that issue?
the 5080 has the issue too.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
it's, okay.
I'm not sure if the 50. I haven't seen the circuit board for a 5070 yet.
Okay.
I'm not in a 5070 Ti. I haven't seen that yet. But I would imagine the 5070 Ti probably has a 12 pin. So basically anything with a 12 pin connector. So AMD,
It's just running too hot.
what happens is they're running two 6 pins
Okay.
in parallel. So there's no power balance between them.
Okay.
So if, say, 3 of 5 of those pins, so if you plug your connector in, and let's say 3 of 5 of those pins on one parallel line isn't connecting right, all of that wattage and amperage is going to be going through those last 2 pins.
Oh, I see.
So if all 4 aren't connected right, then all of that, imagine 400
through
watts
one.
is going through one.
Oh, gotcha.
It's just, well, I guess it would be shared, but between the other,
So-
whatever else is left. So basically, I had thought about it like I have a 2015 GMC, and I had a 2006 before that, and they all have the same issue. If one headlight goes out, you replace both because it redirects all the power to the other light.
Yeah, they're right. Yeah.
So it's the same type of thing.
All right.
Where you're seeing these things try to pump all of this.
Yeah, you replace the one headlight, and then a month later, 2
Yeah,
weeks later,
that
the
one's
other one
dead.
blows out. Yeah.
Yeah. So Yeah, buy your headlights and sets.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, so that's kind of what's going on, and it's cooking your power adapter.
In your opinion, do you think it's a design issue where they need to make it easier to make sure a full connection is made? Like if you had some type of device that like physically locked the connector in place?
So they recommend using, of course, their provided adapter.
Okay.
So
there is an adapter available.
Yeah, and they recommend not using these extension adapters and things that people use to clean up their systems.
All right.
However, there's way better ways to do it.
Yeah.
And there was really nothing wrong with the 8 pins that they were using, because they would be split into. They would take the 12 volts and they would split them.
Huh.
Between them, they wouldn't run parallel like that.
You think they were just thinking ahead to try to make future room for future pieces, or I don't know.
And what's interesting is AMD just launched their competitor. They don't have a top-end card anymore. AMD doesn't launch top-end cards. Well, they said they're not going to.
Okay.
This time, so they're sending out a middle-of-the-road card. The middle-of-the-road card, the MSRP was $549.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Okay, so we can see it actually right on this. Right here, let's see, we have the 9070 XT right there. Okay, so that's the middle of the road card.
Okay.
And if we look at the difference between these two, that's $500 difference in MSRP.
And it's almost nothing.
Yeah, and that's the old card. Now, if we look at
for people that are listening, the Sapphire, the RX 970, which was the old card, is running at 69.9 frames a second. And then the card that's $500 more, which was the 4080, is running at 72 frames
and
a second.
And the 4080 is the old card, and the 9070 is the brand new they just came
brand
out.
new. Oh, the brand new mid-range. I'm sorry.
Yeah, brand new mid-range, yeah. And then if we look down here, we see, let's see, where's our 5070?
Looking at this,
here we go. Here's a 5070. These right now are going for $1,000.
Wow.
At 5070.
And they're not as good.
Not anyway. And so that's the direct competitor. This is what AMD did. They came out with a direct competitor to the 5070 and they smoked it.
Huh.
Blew it out of the water. Great job by AMD. They also had, you could almost buy one for a second. They're all sold out everywhere now, but you could almost buy one.
So the 9070 is kind of like that Toyota truck. There's something you're looking for. It's like, it's that solid rig that is not going to win you any drag races, but it's going to get you like back and forth to the hardware store for 15 years. Yeah,
and I would say if you're playing on 1440p and you're looking for new graphics card and you do not mind AMD, I've never had a problem with them. I've used AMD processors for 15 years. I've had 2 different AMD GPUs. I've never had an issue with either one. My daughter's uses one right now that's about 7 years old, still doesn't have an issue with it.
Wow.
No problems. There is some driver support issues that used to happen. As far as I understand, those are cleared up. Because of where this sits at 70 frames, I'm looking in a little higher end if I do go to replace.
Right.
But
for $500, man.
But that's a good deal for anything under 600. That's a fantastic deal.
Yeah.
What I was going to mention is that it's interesting because on one of the nicer cards here, I think it's the Sapphire 9070 XT. It's a very pretty card. So super nice.
If you can't see, it's got triple fans. It's got it's very well built.
Super nice.
Yeah,
right?
super nice.
It's
Got some LEDs,
box
body. It looks very futuristic.
Yeah, it's really nice.
It looks nice, very clean.
So, but on there, they have a 12-pin model.
Oh.
And they did the same thing as NVIDIA. So it must be something in the parameter when it comes to that connector. Because, that connector's going to be coming standard on,
Right, that's what I'm saying. Is it going to be like
now.
an industry standard now, something like that?
What else is interesting, too, is that NVIDIA, when they run their power phases on these graphics cards, they run a fuse, but they run like a 40-amp fuse. Because they'll run like 220s parallel. And when they do that, so if that power, if one of those power rails fails, the chances of it nuking your card are pretty high. Whereas when I was looking at the Sapphire, there is 220 amp fuses, but they'll control that failure. I mean, you'd have to replace the whole power stage for sure, but they would control it wouldn't hit your RAM and it wouldn't nuke your core.
Wow.
So you could get it repaired, where some of these NVIDIA cards, good luck with that.
Right.
I think there's some pictures of
the
5090s.
That's interesting. You always have when you're updating and you're making new prototypes.
So here's
You can, they're all melted
little pic of a
connectors.
card right
Yeah,
there.
look at that.
So
Yeah,
melted pin.
Well,
pins.
that's the thing. Well, that one's melted all the way across. All the other pictures you
Yeah.
showed before that was only one or
Only
two
one,
pins that
yeah.
were burned.
So
That's interesting.
That's pretty bad right there. And there's a dude, Durbauer. He's a overclocker, world record holding overclocker, that he did a video on one 4090 specifically that was cooking, and he purchased it and then tested it himself too. And
So these are only for PCs. They're not available in laptops or any of that kind of stuff. The 12 pins.
no,
Yeah.
these are
Okay.
just for PCs.
So if you have a laptop out there, you're pretty good. Fair warning, if you have a PC unit and it's a newer unit, you might want to pay attention and see if you've got a 12-pin connector, if you've got one of the
it would be brand new, right? The 4000 series, hopefully yours hasn't melted yet, but hopefully it won't ever melt. But yeah, the 5, it would be a real bummer to spend $5,000 on a scalped RTX 5090 and then have that happen.
Yeah, no.
I see why EVGA jumped out of the game.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway.
So fair warning. Yeah, keeping, if you got a new rig and you spend a lot of money on it, keep an eye on those 12-pin connectors, especially if you got an NVIDIA.
For sure.
Especially, be safe.
Yeah,
out
use
there.
the right stuff, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. So is that it for the tech update?
Yeah, that's it for tech, I think.
Yeah,
We're
cool.
good there.
All right. So lighter side, we've got we found a favorite for both of us now. We were talking about chat music up on YouTube. So I haven't been back to see what they've got going on. I think Matt said they might have had Tab said they've got a new video out. And we're going to take a look at that to close things out for the day.
They've
Leave
got
on a
several
laugh.
out, but we'll try to pick one that's
Let's see.
semi-appropriate.
Shrek
I guess
5.
we can't really do that.
Well, let's see. Well, if she's down, I'm down. Bro erupted during the eruption. Shrek 5.
I can't even look at that one.
Which one? Oh, the eruption guy?
Yeah.
Let's do Shrek, man. Let's do
All right.
Shrek, I'm thinking.
Yeah, let's check
Let's check it out.
What did I just see? This did it release, this escape. This looks like one of those scam ads that play on free mobile games.
Yeah, that's true.
Seeing this made me finally decide to go to therapy.
Oh, wait a minute. I just noticed. Hang on.
Massacred my boy.
What did they do to his face?
I don't know.
I mean, she's changed, right? Like that, because
A
I
little
watched
bit, yeah.
all these movies with my kids.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
right, so
Yeah.
like they looks relatively the same. But
Yeah,
what
yeah.
did they do?
I
to
don't know what happened to Shrek.
Dude, what did they do to his face? Oh my goodness! And what is that, a daughter or something? I don't know.
I think you're supposed
guess
to know
that's a
that.
new character. I don't know. I don't know. Donkey. I mean, what? He's a donkey. He's gonna look the same. But what did they do to his face?
I
Maybe
know
they're
I
trying
love
to.
Shrek, so
Maybe they're trying to age him. You think that's what they tried to do?
maybe.
It looks funky, man. It doesn't look like the same character.
No, it doesn't.
Okay. Sorry, I'm going to back up a little bit. That was just jarring. I just noticed it out of nowhere. Okay. All right. Here we go.
How they massacred my boys. That's Shrunken Dinky. How do I unwatch a trailer? Shrek overdosed on anti-aging.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
When is that asteroid coming? Sonic treatment immediately.
Oh, right. Yeah. You bet.
Finally, a worthy opponent for Snow White.
Oh, I don't know about that.
DreamWorks Nightmare Works
Yep.
with RTX on our designs. We got Brain Rot and Shrek 5 before GTA
That's
6.
funny.
Look, we added TikTok to the mirror. We are so hip with the kids.
Right.
The original design of Shrek in the found lost
Oh.
footage looks nothing like this.
That's true.
Far away has a fucking fentanyl
Oh,
crisis.
boy. It looks like it, man. It looks like a druggie.
Ibuprofen and now my migraine is back. Who the fuck are those people? This isn't a trailer, it's a threat.
Yeah.
Donkey looks like he broke out of rehab.
That's true. He does. He's all scruffy.
Kids' movies make Happy Meal last. Dear DreamWorks, April Fools isn't last.
Right. Man, they really messed up the character design.
Stayed in the swamp, Sonic Protocol needs to be out.
Right. Fix it.
He looked like they lived through 3 world wars. What the fuck? She looks like a mama game ad whose central gameplay is just Shrek themed candy.
Right.
The original design of Shrek in the found lost footage looks better
Right.
than this. Far, far away has a fucking fentanyl crisis.
Yeah. Ooh, I I hope they fix it. All right, well, I think that's it for this week. We kind of went through our list here. If you have any ideas of things you want us to go through, look at, kind of comment on, go in depth on, we don't mind doing and looking at it. Appreciate you tuning in. Listen, if you got this far to second episode. And then as far as quality goes, you see something that, we love, constructive criticism. We're kind of new at this, and where everyone will get a little better. And
maybe
not. But,
we could have peaked already, bro.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, it's all right. He did. So, all right. Well, we appreciate it. If you have anything, you can always get a hold of us at on X, Instagram, email, all that good stuff. They'll be in the show notes at the bottom there. So feel free to reach out if you need to get a hold of us.
Have a good one. Later.
Later.